Hi, I'm Jackie Toops with ArmyWife101.com. And today, ladies, this one is for you. If you are a military mama who has had a baby and found that you had some surprises afterwards, your doctor didn't tell you things, your body didn't quite bounce back the way you thought it might, and everyone just said, well, that's normal, that's your life now. We're here to tell you today that is no longer the case. I've got a very special military spouse with me today. Please help me welcome Ashley Gammon. I'm going to read about this. She's been a military spouse now for 15 years. She's a mom and a women's health and fitness professional specializing in pelvic floor and core health. As the community manager of the Military Outreach MUTU System, Ashley helps military mamas restore their bodies and recover from nagging symptoms that never went away after having babies. So today we're going to have a very open, very casual, very transparent conversation. So I'm hoping that this is going to help you know that some of the things you've dealt with aren't normal, you don't have to live with it, and there is a solution. So thank you so much for being here today, Ashley.
Thank you. I'm excited to chat with you today.
Oh, you too. So I'd love to hear a little bit about you. I know I gave you that introduction, but can you tell our audience a little bit about who you are?
Yep. So I'm Ashley. Like Jackie said, I've been a military spouse for 15 years. My husband just hit 19 years just last week. So this has been our life for quite some time. We've got 3 girls, named all of them after presidents because we like to keep it patriotic around here, right? So I've got McKinley, Madison, and Monroe, and that's kind of between my story as a military spouse and a mom is how I got down this journey of being an advocate for women. I suffered with pelvic floor dysfunction for 6 years, and like you were saying, we kind of get these answers like, well, kind of like, welcome to motherhood, the things nobody tells you. So I really want to put a stop to that and just provide education, resources, and tools, especially for military spouses, because the logistics of our life, the constant moving, it's tricky that we move, but then we have to think about our healthcare providers. They also move too. So lots of different things to think about, and just make it really simple. And I have an awesome online resource for military spouses and soldiers too.
Fantastic. So you've got 3, I've got 2. Did anyone kind of prep you beforehand when you had kids just to say, well, you may have to go to the bathroom all the time, or you may sneeze and that's just life now? Was that sort of what you were told when you had your children?
No, and that's the sad thing. And I think that's what, that's the quote I'm always hearing from my moms is like, I wish I would have known. I wish I would have known. And there's so many things that I feel like we can be empowered with such simple resources to be in control of our bodies, right? And so that's kind of the sad thing. For me, it's like women are coming to me and they already have the symptoms. So I feel like, of course, I want to educate the women who are already in this with the suffering and the silence or whatnot, but I wish that we could kind of back up a little bit. And maybe this could be a childbirth education class. Like we talk about, how to breastfeed your baby, what to expect after. But then it's like at that 6-week mark, it's like we're done with mom and now it's all about baby, and baby gets all the well checks. And then we kind of are just, I don't know, thrown to the wolves to like figure this out in ourselves. And then it's really sad too, because society kind of like jokes about it. I'm sure you've seen like the memes or, like somebody will post on Facebook like, oh, I peed my pants jumping on the trampoline. And then you've got, 25 moms that are just like laughing about it. And like, we have to stop because this is what normalizes it, or the adult diaper commercials. And it's like, no woman, adult should be wearing a diaper, period. Diapers are for babies and that's it. Mm-hmm. Right? So unfortunately, no, like I said, I suffered for 6 years and I wish somebody would have told me. And so that's what I strive to be, that person that I wish I would have had to say, right away when I started suffering with symptoms, hey, here's a resource, here's some tools. We're going to teach you how to do some exercises that are going to drastically change this. So no, unfortunately, I did not.
Yeah, well, and I can tell you from my side, both of my grandmothers definitely had issues that I'm aware of. One had her babies, and actually they both had their babies in the 40s and 50s. So there was nobody talking about this. One of them gave birth to twins, and they didn't even know. They just said, well, there's either 2 in there or it's one big baby. So, I mean, if we're not talking about it here in this day and age, they certainly weren't. And I saw them just say, well, this is how it is. Even my own mom, when we would go on family road trips, she would have to go to the bathroom a lot. And my brother and I were like, again, we just stopped. And she said, I had 2 babies. So I thought, oh, okay, well, one day when I have babies, I'll just sacrifice my body and I'll just not have control over it. And that's just what happens. And so it was kind of like a choice of, well, I want kids, but here's the payoff. And I feel like my doctors didn't talk about that. The only thing I've ever heard of were I'm not sure if I pronounced them correctly, Kegel or Kegel exercises. But I don't know if I was consistent enough. I don't even know if I did them correctly. What can you say to that?
A lot of women, it's like the statistics will say 50% of women are doing their Kegels wrong. So if that's the only reason you're getting, it's like, oh, do your Kegels all day long. There's a couple of things I'll say about that. Never in a million years would I grab a 5-pound dumbbell, and every time I thought about it throughout my day, like, okay, I'm gonna work my arms out today. Like, I would never do that. Pelvic floor is a muscle just like every other muscle in the body. So no way would I want to just Kegel all day long. And then if I'm not even knowing if I'm doing it right, which is another huge resource that I talk about with a lot of women, is the Women's Health PT. So it's a physical therapist that specializes in this area. They have extra training. So I mean, if a mom's at home, and obviously I don't do internal work as a fitness professional, but if I'm working with a mom and she, a couple weeks, she's like, I have no idea if I'm doing these exercises correctly. What should I be feeling for? And there's cues that like I'll teach them, and there's some tricks and stuff that they can do at home to see if they're doing it correctly. But if they still have no idea, then that's when I say, okay, Women's Health PT, which TRICARE covers 100%. So there's no reason why military spouses shouldn't be, and honestly, on even some bases. I think there's 16 Women's Health PTs across all of the branches, which obviously is not enough. We know how many spouses there are, but it is a resource that, again, I wish that at our 6-week appointment, that's what we would get. Like, that would be our, like, here's a pamphlet, here's kind of what your body went through, here's what your core and pelvic floor have gone through, their muscles, they need rehabbed, because think about, would we, stretch any other muscle in the body to the max, or tear any other muscle and then go to the doctor and they would say, oh yeah, eventually it'll just fix itself. That would never happen. So it's like, why is the pelvic floor? It's like this forgotten muscle. I mean, people don't talk about it. We don't know what it is. We don't know where it is. We don't know how to use it. And I think, again, we should be empowered with bodies that work right, period. Right?
You said that perfectly. Well, and here we are talking 6 week, that 6 week mark, and I've got a story to share as well. I had my first baby, and I've had two, and they were each born two different ways. The second one was cesarean, and but with my first, I went to my husband's sister's wedding when my son was right about 6 weeks, 7 weeks old. And I was really excited because we had all this family around that I trusted. And I thought, I can pass off the baby. I can go hit the dance floor. And all was awesome until House of Pain came on with Jump Around. And I started jumping. And then I said, oh my gosh, I'll be right back. And I had to quickly run off the dance floor. My husband's like, what happened? And I thought that was terrible and unexpected. And I wondered, is that just my new life now? Is that temporary? And there was really no one that I knew to ask.
Right.
So when I hear that there's techniques you can do that involve exercises and breathing, of course it makes sense. Like, it's like strengthening any muscle. I knew with my kids, my arm muscles got strong quickly because I was constantly carrying them and stirring their pot and vacuuming and whatever. So it's just a shame to think that I had other muscles that were just completely neglected. So in addition to that, I know that there are other situations. I had a friend who had the diastasis really bad, and she ended up having to get surgery to correct it. But this was after her kids were already maybe 5 and 8, so it was years. So what can you talk about what some of the issues arise after childbirth that change the body?
Yeah, so I would say some of the most common symptoms that the women I work with talk about, diastasis recti, huge, because 100% of pregnant women get some form of this in the third trimester. And instead of it being like this scary thing, think of it as a really amazing thing. Your ab muscles literally separate from the midpoint so that baby can grow. If that didn't happen, baby wouldn't grow. But because those muscles are being stretched, we need to rehab them, period, right? And I always say, no matter what your pregnancy looked like, no matter how you delivered baby. So I had 3 C-sections and I had pelvic floor dysfunction. So I am like living proof that just because I didn't have a vaginal birth doesn't mean my pelvic floor was in the clear. I mean, I carried around that extra weight for 9 months and I had all 3 of my girls back to back. So probably not so great on my pelvic floor, especially because I didn't know to rehab between. So diastasis recti is a big one. Painful sex is another symptom that women are not talking about. And I had no idea how many women were suffering with that symptom. Until I got into this work, which is just so sad because, and it's crazy because more than one woman has come to me and said, I've gone to my doctor about this, and basically their resource is you need to learn how to relax, try drinking a glass of wine or something before you have sex. And I'm like, that's just not an okay answer, right?
Right.
we know our bodies better than anybody else, and if something doesn't feel right, we need to get it fixed. We need to get to the, to the bottom of it, not just keep putting band-aids on it. So painful sex is a big one. Lower back and hip pain. I think lower back pain is a huge one because, again, we just kind of like categorize it as like, oh yeah, like this is just motherhood. You're gonna have lower back pain for the rest of your life, and your shoulders are gonna hurt. And think about it. No matter how you feed your baby, whether you're breastfeeding, maybe you're or your body, you're sitting in these strange positions. And if your core is not working, that's when the pain is going to come in, right? And so we really need our core to work. So I think those would be probably the most common ones. Pelvic organ prolapse is another thing, another topic that we're not talking about. That again, so much can be done through exercise alone. And you mentioned surgery for the diastasis. That gets tricky. I actually just wrote a blog about it. The top 5 things I want women to know about DR. And number 5 was that surgery should always be your last solution to correct that, because so much can be done with exercise. Yes, there's a time and a place for surgery. Yes, there are true candidates for that surgery. But let's try a more homeopathic. And then plus you're going to have to rehab those muscles before and after surgery, because that's a major, major surgery, right?
Right.
So obviously with my work, I want to try to avoid surgery, but yes, there's absolutely a time and a place for it. But and then one more thing, I always tell my moms, I'm like, too, if you go to a surgeon, they're going to recommend surgery. A surgeon is not going to give you a homeopathic remedy for anything, because that's what they do, right? So it's just getting second opinions, and again, some moms want surgery, and that's great, and I support them, but I'm the first to tell them you're still going to need to rehab after that surgery, and really, I would like to see them do it before.
Absolutely. I think that's so true. And I mean, the last thing moms need are downtime. So if you can just work on this in a natural way, just a few minutes a day to help, because you're so right. If you pull your hamstring or tear it, you go in, they just say, well, before you go for a run, drink a glass of wine. I mean, that's not an acceptable answer. And I mean, having baby already puts a strain on a relationship. Being in the military puts a strain on a relationship. And if you can't have a sexual relationship with your spouse, I mean, that's just so many strikes against you. And when you think that this could easily be managed, then I think, why not? Why would you go to such drastic maneuvers, or why would you just live with the pain? So I think it's wonderful. So thank you all for tuning in. Those who are watching right now, I'm talking with Ashley Gammon, and she is a military spouse, and she specializes in pelvic floor and core health. So we're talking about all the things people have probably never talked to you about before, but you've all wondered. So thank you again for being here today, Ashley. So I've got a couple questions for you as well. How did you learn about the MUTU system? What was it that attracted you to it?
That's actually kind of a funny story. So I had randomly seen this video about diastasis recti on Facebook, and it like grabbed my attention because after I had my 3rd baby, my husband and I knew we were done having kids, so I had kind of started, going to the gym, trying to figure out, what my new norm was going to be with my body after 3 babies and 3 C-sections. And I just could never, my stomach never would change. It's like, my arms would tone up, my legs, but my tummy would always kind of, that's where the mummy tummy comes from, right? People were constantly asking me when I was due. And yeah, as a woman, that's the most frustrating thing is like, oh, when are you pregnant? You're like, well, I'm not. So just really frustrating for me. So I saw this video. Of course, I went straight to Google, trying to figure out what is this, and I laid on the floor and discovered I could fit 4 fingers in between my ab muscles, and my mind was just blown. And so researching, and everybody knows when you try to self-diagnose yourself through Google, it's just, and the end result's never good, right? So I was getting really frustrated figuring out, like, what am I supposed to do? What am I not supposed to do? And my husband, who is so awesome, I always joke, I'm like, if you guys want a product, just send him the info and he'll research and find you the best thing. So he started researching for me and found MUTU, and literally we'd never heard of it. He had never heard of it. He basically just said, I researched, I found this program called MUTU. It had good reviews. I bought it for you. He sent me my login. I logged in. It's a UK-based company, so Wendy Powell, the creator, is British, so she's got this beautiful British accent and it was just like the first time I felt like, even though she obviously wasn't really talking to me because it's an online program, but I felt like for the first time I was validated. She knew exactly like what had been going through, my symptoms all checked off, and I followed the program to a T. It's 12 modules, so if you do it like you're supposed to every day, which again, mom life, you can take your time when you need it, but I did it to a T simply because 3 weeks into the program, I felt so good. I mean, my mind was blown because it's exercises that you don't typically see in the fitness industry. You know, it's shifting that mindset and realizing that, okay, less is actually more, especially when dealing with a postpartum body and especially dealing with these weak muscles. So yeah, that's why I stuck with it. And I mean, you know, we're talking about all the things today. One of the things, you know, one of my symptoms was constipation. Like I was constipated all the time, and I suffered with what they said, you know, were chronic hemorrhoids. Like that shouldn't even be a diagnosis, right?
I
And
didn't
like
even know those existed. Chronic? Oh, I'm so sorry.
I said, just because they never went away, I don't really think it's a thing. I just think they were just like, well, I don't know why she keeps getting them. But 3 weeks into MUTU, again, my pelvic floor was probably just so weak, and I alleviated that pressure, and then I could go to the bathroom every day. And I mean, that might seem like really silly to somebody, or like that's not that big of a deal, but somebody who suffers with constipation, we all know how annoying that is. And so for me, I was just like, I don't know what this program is doing, but it's working. I'm doing it. And then that's how I kind of got into my work, because I wanted to share, you know, women, we find something good, we want to share it with all of our friends. And I was already in the fitness industry, so at that point I decided to really focus in and specialize in this area. I got certified as a MUTU Pro in 2016, and then from then we launched M.O.M.S to be able to share it with the military community. So that's how I literally stumbled. I would say, like, I literally stumbled across it. This was supposed to be my journey because, you know, it just the way it all happened.
I love that. That was no accident that you came across it. And here you were just trying to look for help for yourself, and now you're able to help others. So, see, meant to be. We have a question here that I'll let you answer here about prolapse.
Okay, yeah, I see it. So what is prolapsing? So basically a prolapse is, so your pelvic floor goes from pubic bone all the way back to tailbone. And one of the jobs of the pelvic floor is to keep those organs that sit on top of it in place. So those organs being your bladder, your uterus, and your rectum. So when pelvic floor gets weak, it kind of goes down in a downward direction. So prolapse, it just would just be descending of those organs in the wrong direction. We want to keep them upright. So that's prolapse. And somebody to like really get a diagnosis, is if you have that, would be a women's health PT would be a good person to see for that. One of the symptoms that women say for me would be like a red flag for they would need to go see if something else is going on. They say like something feels like it's going to fall out of my vagina. So if my moms ever say that, then it's like, for me, it's like, you know, you don't start with me because I don't do internal work, and I refer them to women's health.
Right. Well, and that sounds incredibly serious. And to think that some people might be walking around with that and not know what it is, not know what's causing it, might think that's just the norm now. I'm glad that you're here, Ashley, to help say, no, this is not okay, but there are helpful resources. There are ways that you can strengthen and get your body back. You can work on that mom tummy. You can achieve your confidence. And I'll tell you too, because I've had a nice little sneak peek at the program. It was nothing like I expected. It's funny because there was a lot more mind-body connection. And I told you that at first. I was like, I can curl a bicep, no big deal, listen to music, zone out, think about whatever. With this, I was like, oh, wait, no, my breathing wasn't right, or oh, I'm not feeling it, where'd it go? And, oh, there it is. It was really interesting to see, because I honestly thought coming in, because I don't have newborns anymore. They're now 6 and 8. So I thought, well, is this program for me? And reading that, it doesn't matter if you've just had a baby 6 weeks ago or if your baby is now 16, this is still something that is relevant to you. If you had vaginal birth, C-section, this can help you. I had one of each. So I thought, okay, well, I don't think I'm that bad off, but let's give it a try. And as I was reading through the, does this happen to you, essentially, I realized that a couple of the items, I was like, oh, that does still happen. That's correctable. I had no idea. So I think that it's great that you found this program that can really reach out to all women who've had babies, whether you know that you've got an issue, you suspect you have an issue, or you think, I'm fine, that was years ago. There's always room for growth, development, strengthening, confidence. Who doesn't want a flatter tummy? I know I do.
Right? No matter what you do in life, you're going to use your core. And that's what I always tell women. I'm like, it's never too late. And if you skip to that stage of that rehab, like, you really do need to go back, you know, because it's an important thing. And throughout life, it can continue to get worse for different reasons. So definitely never too late.
Absolutely. So as we've just covered, this program that Ashley works with, the MUTU program, is for women of various ages, whose kids are of various ages, who've delivered an either C-section or vaginal birth. And so there are numerous options. And what's so great about this is that it is online. So no matter where in the world you get stationed, you can do this on your own time. So while your kids are napping, while they're at school, when you get a few minutes to yourself, it's something that you just gradually work on every day. And how soon was it that you said you saw results, Ashley?
3 weeks. So at the end of that 3 week mark, and I think too, people get, the first 2 weeks are only core, right? Because you want to build that strong foundation. So sometimes moms will be like, oh, it's not enough, it's not enough. I'm always like, trust the process and wait for module 3, because that's when you're going to get your first intensive. And you will sweat, and so it is a program to rehab, but it's also, it becomes a total body. It'll have all the areas covered. So yeah, and like you said, you can do it when your kids are napping. Totally doable for busy moms. I know us military moms are busy, right? So it's too easy.
Absolutely. And for those of you that aren't like exercise fanatics, I will say the first module is pretty awesome because they're like, get a pillow and lie down on the floor. And I was like, yes, I can definitely do this. Take some moments to breathe. I mean, I think that we all need that level of like wellness and kind of just taking a moment to focus on our breath, on our body, and just calm our mind. That in itself is an added benefit, I feel. So let me go ahead, and I've dropped a link in this program here, or I'm sorry, in the comments here that can connect you with Ashley. I see that somehow I accidentally tagged the wrong name. I'll fix that as well. I saw your comment. So basically, who would you say is the ideal candidate for this program, and what sort of benefits can they expect afterwards, Ashley?
I would say on any woman that's wanting to have children. I know it's kind of hard to get your mind there until you're pregnant, but the program does have pregnancy modifications. So it's definitely safe and something that I wish all women did during pregnancy. Being in tune with that part of your body can be so beneficial during the pushing phase and delivery phase. So I think, and like you said, for all women, if you're suffering with any of these symptoms we talked about, even if you've been suffering for years and years and years, this program is for you. And I think the end result, the goal is that you're going to have a body that functions right. MUTU is all about, we're all about function first, body confidence. This is not about the way you look, although that is one of the benefits from it, right? Because it works and you're working out. But first and foremost, you deserve a body that works right, period. You shouldn't be in pain. You know what I mean? Like that's our goal. That's our goal. So it can be, I always say with MUTU, it can be everything you need, or it can be your stepping stone to whatever you want to do, right? Because women have goals. So I always say, like, if you want to run a triathlon, we're going to get you there. If you want to CrossFit, we're going to get you there. But we have to build the foundation first, because you're going to be better at all the things that you want to do.
Do you see the question here we've got on the screen? Is it harder after having 6 babies? Congratulations on your 6 bundles of joy. That's awesome.
I don't think so. Like I said, it's never too late. I actually have a local Michigan mom here that I worked with who had 6 kids. And she found me after all 6 kids. And again, she had suffered with all these symptoms and was just told over and over and over, like, and she, her results were so amazing. Total life-changing experience for her. Because I don't think we realize that, body image is such a huge thing. When you don't feel good about how you look, it affects everything else in your life. That's how, when women say, like, when you have just that right outfit on, like, you just feel like you can just take on the world, right? And so it's like, if you're peeing your pants, how can you be your best and do your best, right? So I think, and that was for me, completely changed my confidence in myself once my body started working again right. So yeah, if you've had 6 babies, then absolutely MUTU's for you, and you will gain results.
Fantastic. Yeah, I had a best friend that I knew all the way from elementary school, and she had kids before me, and she said she just couldn't jump on a trampoline anymore. Like, it was just a given that she accepted it. And I remember thinking, what? Your kids are toddlers now. What do you mean you can't jump now? Because I know that when you're pregnant, that's the joke, because you have to go to the bathroom all the time. I didn't expect that would be an outcome or that it would be a given. But I love what you said about this is such a great foundation, because how are you going to run a marathon if you have to just go to the bathroom like every so many minutes? Like, how are you going to make it through? But if you strengthen that core, you get your pelvic floor in check, then you really can do more. And also in the military, I really agree that having that confidence is so important, because we have to start over how many times do you have to go and make new friends or apply for new jobs? And if we're not feeling good about who we are, we're not going to present ourselves well. And I feel like just having that confidence, it's going to benefit our friendships, our professional life, our marriages, everything.
Right.
So it's a wonderful start that like starts here, that can really benefit the rest of your life. So these are really good questions. Thank you all for tuning in here. I've got Ashley Gammon, and we are talking about all things that happen to our bodies after having babies and how you can regain your body back and regain your confidence with this program. So, can you tell me a little bit about the military outreach program specifically, Ashley?
Yep. So MUTU's been around since 2009. So MUTU is an established. They've been. I always say like the program just keeps getting better and better because Wendy's really awesome about listening to her moms. The feedback. So they actually just revamped the entire program last January. So a year ago, January, they came out with all new videos. I'm actually in intensive 3, so once you get to intensive 3, you'll work out with me. So that's always fun. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's doctor approved. It's medically recommended. There's women health PTs that sit there and say, yes, this is good. It's amazing. I mean, like I said, it's a total body. It starts with that foundation. So MUTU's been here, right? It's an established program. It's awesome. And so the Military Outreach MUTU System was launched last April. So we're almost a year in. And basically, this project is all about meeting the military women where they are, right? So I traveled down to Fort Bragg a couple times last year and hosted some live workshops, and we're planning a couple for this year as well. But it's tricky. It's tricky, right? Because everyone's moving all the time. So trying to meet everyone where they're at, and then obviously the online. And like you said, you can do it from anywhere. So as long as you have Wi-Fi, you can get on your phone and watch the video. You can download the exercises. So we're just trying to make it simple, but making sure that the military community has these resources, has the tool, has the education, knows that they have access to get a referral to Women's Health PT. We're just trying to really just come in and just spread it like wildfire because, our past generations have normalized this, and we have to be the generation to stop it. We really do.
Oh, you just gave me a chill. I concur with that so much because I've seen what's happened in my own family with women that I love, that they just accept this as the norm, and just knowing that doesn't have to be the case. And I'm here talking from a military spouse perspective, but I have a lot of female friends who are service members, and they're expected to be there doing push-ups and running at 6 a.m. every day, and they're moms. And so this is for anyone who's had babies. Could you talk a little bit about the moms in the military and
Yeah.
how this can benefit them?
We absolutely want to really give that support to the soldiers. Obviously, as a military spouse, I can connect with military spouses right off the bat because this is the life I lived. Not that I can't connect with the soldiers, but I don't understand, and I never will understand the life they lived because I've never lived it, right? But I really try to, actually just went and interviewed one of my friends here who's a veteran who retired a couple years ago because I'm like, I want to be able to support them. So to be able to support them, I need to get to know them a little better, right? But it is crazy. I did a lot of research as we were preparing to launch M.O.M.S, and at least Army. I did a lot of research on Army because my husband's Army.
Yeah, that's it.
180 days after mom has baby, she's expected to not only take a PT test but pass it, because we all know that failing a PT test can affect your career, right? And they do have like a postpartum program and stuff. But I want to see that be better. I want better resources for them because, readiness is the military's number 1 goal. How can we expect a female soldier to be ready if she can't even control her bladder? Or she's putting on an 80-pound rucksack and she's already, dealing with lower back pain. It's like, if we want them to be ready, we need to prepare them to be ready. So, yes, this program is absolutely, I always say military, if you're a military woman, if you're a veteran, if you're affiliated with the military, we have created this special community so that we can share. We have like a private connect page that you can get on because we get each other's lives, right? We can use all of our acronyms and everyone's going to understand what we're talking about. And I have blogs on the website that are very, sharing my story as a military spouse. So, yeah, I just think this is for everybody. I wish that the Army would just hand this out as soon as female soldier has baby. It's like, here you go, here's your MUTU, like, we'll see you in 12 weeks or, And it's sad too, because like you said earlier, like 6 weeks, that's what we get, right? 6 weeks, we're like, oh, normal activity. I'm like, geez, we really need like 12 months until, there's so much healing that needs to go on. So that's what, again, I love, because we really need to focus on building that foundation first.
You just gave me a flashback. I had so many friends who we all were dreading hitting that 6 week mark because our husbands were just here chomping at the bit, like, has it been 6 weeks yet? And we were like, this is terrifying. And to think that for some women, that just continues for months on end. It's never enjoyable, it's uncomfortable, it's painful, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Absolutely.
Gosh, and thank you for what you're doing for the service members as well who are female, because they do have really high expectations. And you're right. I know that when I've had back pain before, it's because my core wasn't strong and I'm not sitting up properly. I'm kind of slouching, and then there's extra strain. And just even if you're not carrying a rucksack, you're carrying a child. You know what I mean? Like there's always strain, and if you don't have this strong core, you're going to start feeling it in other areas of your body.
Yep. Right. Need to be ready too, right? That's our number one mission. We don't get a choice. We have to be ready.
Exactly. You're right. Everyone's expecting readiness and expecting us to bounce back. And that's just not the case. It takes some more time. And as you said, it's going to take some exercises and some therapy because our bodies have changed immensely. They have grown a human, which is incredible. But that doesn't just come back on its own magically and heal unless you treat it right. So, thank you. I'm learning so much today. And when you reached out to me, I thought, gosh, here I am thinking I knew all this on the subject, just thinking, well, this is just how it is, or just do the Kegels and you're fine. And I realized, nope, there's so much more to it. And I'm just happy to see, because as you said, it can help benefit those with core issues, diastasis, with prolapse, with sexual discomfort, just everything. And that tummy, I know it's so frustrating. Like I can't tell you, one of the first things I did when I went back to work after maternity leave was buy some shapewear, because I was like, well, that's not what it used to look like. And none of my work clothes fit. And then you kind of just wonder for a while, because you do still look pregnant for a bit. And the fact that people ask you that, it's just like, oh.
Isn't it so sad though that we have to worry about like we should just be able to confidently just go and not have to, I know a lot of women wear like what you were saying, like the tummy stuff. And I'm just like, oh, see, in society, I mean, they have not been nice to us either about this. Like, we're expected to bounce back. And I'm like, there's no bouncing back. We're never going to be back to a body that didn't grow a baby, right? So, we just need to continue to tell moms that they're beautiful and it's not about the way they look, right?
That is so true. That is so true. And I mean, because you end up with the loose skin, the stretch marks, everything. See, I told you we're talking about it all today, ladies. But it doesn't have to be dysfunctional. Like just because it's different doesn't mean it's not working for you anymore. And I love that that's what Ashley's doing with her mission here with the Military Outreach Program with MUTU, is to tell women that your bodies are beautiful and they can be stronger and serving you better, because we have more expectations on us once we have kids. Now we're supposed to do everything like this all the time, and working and moving and supporting our spouses or serving in the military, whatever the case may be. And if you're feeling weak and tired and just not like yourself anymore, you're not going to be in the best position to provide that support for everyone else, and mostly for yourself. Like you gotta fill that cup. So for those who are interested in the program, I know that you do have an ambassador opportunity as well. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Yep. So we do have an ambassador opportunity because obviously I need help. I'm always saying, like, I'm trying to move mountains here. I need my military women to come on board with me and help me spread awareness. So it's very simple. You fill out a form with your information. Team MUTU does send you your special link. You have access to be able to post images and stuff. And it's that simple. And obviously, anybody can become an ambassador, but I think in my head, it makes more sense if you're going to do the program, right, to have a story to share. A lot of ambassadors are mommy bloggers, people who have had children themselves. They blog about mom life. They do the program, write a blog, put their affiliate link. You never have to do anything again. So obviously you make money. So you're going to make a 20% commission off the sale. Plus, you're going to be empowering women through body confidence. So it's a win-win situation, no matter how you look at it. So, that's another big thing for me as this project grows. I really want to focus on job opportunities for military spouses. And that's one of the ways we're doing that, because like I said, it's too easy. Just simply sharing a link and you can make money, I know as a military spouse, I've been there many times where it's kind of like, what are you going to do for work? And you know what I mean? You move and you can't always take your work with you. So it's an opportunity that's there if you guys want to join and help me in this movement.
That's fantastic. Yeah, portable careers that we can do in our own time is so important. And I know that many of us have different things that we're doing all at once. And so just having that, like you said, having a blog post, having a link, telling your friends, because I'm sure that once you start to do the program and you transition or transform, people are going to say, wow, what are you doing? You look different, you feel different. And then you're helping them, which I think is wonderful, because if this is the kind of information that does need to spread like wildfire. It doesn't need to be a secret anymore. It doesn't need to be hushed. It doesn't need to be what our moms and our grandmothers and everyone before them experienced. So I think this is truly empowering and so important that you're offering this, Ashley. Thank you so much for this information. So what is the best way to learn about what you're doing with the Military Outreach MUTU System for people who are interested in getting started with your program?
So you guys can check out my website. So it's mutustrong.com, and there you'll find all the information. There's the 10 things your doctor didn't tell you download. There is the blogs, and then you can follow me on my social media handles as well. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I'm terrified of Twitter, but I haven't taken that leap yet.
You know, it's funny. I have a Twitter, but I don't use it quite as much as I thought I was going to. There we go. mutustrong.com. for anyone who's interested, and we'll make sure that link is also in the description. And for those of you who are watching this on replay, please feel free to ask your questions and we'll come back and answer those. Again, I've got Ashley Gammon here today, a military spouse, and she's with the Military Outreach Program of the MUTU Strong program, which helps women who have had babies regain their bodies, their strength, their function, their confidence, and basically just take control of their lives again, starting from within. It'll start from within, and you're going to see it in every other area of your life. Well, thank you so much, Ashley. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that we haven't covered today?
I don't think so. I think we covered a lot. I appreciate you bringing up all of these hard topics to talk about, because I think, people often see, us from the outside and they think like we have it all together, we have these perfect lives, and we all deal with stuff and we all dealing with something. So my only ask for people is that just to bring light to these topics and to tell your friends about it. So
thank you so much. That's so true. And it is true. This is probably the most candid conversation I've had yet, but it's because I feel that it's so important. And women are going to feel they're alone unless they know that others have these issues too, and others are talking about it. And we normalize it and say, it's okay, you're not alone. But it's not okay to live with this. You don't have to live with it. So thank you so, so much again. I'm going to go ahead and pop that website up again. If you're interested in learning more about the MUTU program with Ashley, it's mutustrong.com. You can learn all about it, how you can gain access, or how you can become an ambassador, share it with your friends, and maybe pick up some extra money on the side while you help spread this awesome mission. So thank you all today so much for tuning in. Ashley, thanks for being here with me, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks.